I could go ahead and say it now, man. When I met him, he was an MC on the rise. Now he's legendary, citizens. He's legendary from the days of Get Your Mind mixtapes to the People's Champ, his first major label debut. I was there, Heather B. I was there. We traveled to his city of Houston. We sat in the hood. We sat on 4-4s. We chunked the deuce, citizens. We did it all. We rode in the slab with the cherry paint. We did it all. I was right there with him. I'm talking about the one and only legendary Paul Wall.
Where your grills at, Sway?
What it do?
Where they at? Right, you're not really doing it if you're doing it without the grill. You left your grills there?
I didn't. Well, we've been trying to do a grill.
Wait, I don't know. Are they calling you out or they calling me out? They calling me out for that. They saying Sway, but they really mean Power Wow. Where Sway grills at?
Yeah. We'll say you. We're calling out Sway.
You calling me out? Well, I thought I was Paul Wall's brother, man. I just let your brother walk around with no grill.
Hey, Johnny, where you at? We need you on the flight ASAP, man. We got to get Johnny up here quick.
Sway ain't straight.
Come on, man. From the days of Watch It Go Down, we seen this dude when he teamed up with guys. He just didn't team up with anybody. He teamed up with people the likes of DJ Premier and Static Selector. He traveled back and forth from Massachusetts to here in New York City just to be heard. These dudes have done their own promo on the streets. Paul Wall was doing promotions before he got to Mike 5000 Watts trying to get on his show. This dude, Termanology, been carrying people crates for years, and now he's rocking gold chains. Now he's traveling the world. He got the new project Start to Finish. It's out today with the one and only Paul Wall. Give it up for Termanology.
Hyenas!
We got original hyena right here.
Original, not today, but I still got my OG card.
I was about to ask.
You know?
Talk to him about that, Tracy.
Yeah, I was wondering. So it's been a long while.
Yeah.
So we're going to hear some bars, a little something, something.
Hey, so check it out, right? I had 2 experiences on Sway. My first one, I did my best freestyle ever to this day. My second one, I came here and I wasn't so proud of it. So I said to myself, I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because you never put that one out, and I'm happy you didn't because it was horrible.
I was protecting you.
Thank you. The first one was a classic. The second one, it wasn't so good. So I said to myself, I'm never freestyling again on the radio unless I'm ready.
Oh, no.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we always say when folks come up here, do it if you're ready.
Yeah.
Come ready. Quit trying to come off the top if that's
Right.
not what you do.
Right.
Spit or written. We say all of those different things,
All of
man.
that.
Because you know why? It's the days when, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Paul Wall, because your style has evolved over the years, right? But it wasn't always what it is today.
Right.
When I listen to these songs on this particular project, start to finish, I love hearing you on these kind of tracks, right? These are like some authentic New York savory sounding, just like sample loop type tracks, and you mesh so well on these songs with Termanology, who I'm used to hearing on those kind of tracks. Right? Where did it start, though? When did you build your confidence? Was you in the mirror rapping the Pac and Biggie?
Nah, you mean just in general?
as
Where
a
did it
kid,
start?
yeah, as a kid.
As a kid, I was rapping Lil Keke. I was in the mirror rapping Lil Keke. So Lil Keke, to a lot of people know who he is now, but he was, my Big Daddy Kane, my Rakim, for Houston, for our era. He was, one of the originators with DJ Screw. Started off DJ Screw, Lil Keke, and Fat Pat. Rest in peace, Fat Pat. Rest in peace, DJ Screw. And they were like, Run DMC of sorts, a DJ and 2 rappers, and DJ Screw evolved that to putting out the mixtapes, all the Screwed Up Click, mixed screw tapes. And they put them out, not weekly, daily, every day.
They did them daily?
Yeah, and it'd be different mixtapes. It wouldn't be like, start to finish coming out today. Nah, it's just a mixtape come out today. Another, maybe 2 or 3 come out today, because he would personally do the mixtapes for individuals. I could go buy a mixtape for $10, give him a list of the songs I want, and he might let me freestyle on there. Or maybe if Kiki in there, he'll do a freestyle on there or something like that. So you might get a classic Lil Kiki freestyle on a random screw tape that's just not popularized. So even now they're being found in the vault because people got personalized ones that aren't in the stratosphere of released screw tapes. So they're adding to they're digging up archives that they don't even know exist, now. So even as a kid, you would search for those rare Lil Keke freestyles where he's going off, and I mean top of the head freestyles, where you're saying the first thing comes to your mind, nothing's written, nothing's rehearsed. He's making up his own slang, his own language. you know, the flow patterns, everything. Every now and then he'd put some melodies and sing in there or whatever, use similes, metaphors, all kind of big words that you'd have to look. What'd he say? You look up, you know, all kind of. So definitely when it started for me, I was in that mirror rapping them.
What years was this about?
This was early 90s. You know, the Screwed Up Clique, they kind of started around like 92, 93, maybe a little before that. But that's when it was for me. You know, there was some other too. There was some Ghetto Boys that I was in the mirror, you know, rehearsing. I definitely, there was some Pac and Biggie that I was, you know, memorizing and spitting too. But
is that how you learned to develop your flow, by memorizing other people's raps and emulating that?
From the first time I ever spit a verse until now, you know, the first thing I do is I pray. Man, God, man, bring the best out of me. Help me kill it. And that was something that
Never heard that.
My boy T. Ferris saw that Lil Wayne had said that in an interview somewhere, and he just brought it up to me like about maybe 15 years ago. He's like, "Hey man, you see Lil Wayne in this interview?" And you know, me and T. Ferris were very spiritual. So he said, "Hey man, look," he said he prayed every time before he rap. I said, "Man, I'm gonna try that," and it just. You know, you kind of meditate on the beat. I sit there with the beat playing, put my head down, just center myself. You know, you take in the beat. You know, I'm talking to myself, my inner God, as well as the God. Man, bring the best out of me. So it kind of motivate me, get me going, get the juices flowing, and then okay, bet, you know, come with it. So
wow.
But the second thing I do after I pray is, man, what would Lil Kiki say on here? How would he say it, you know, on here? So, man, big shouts out to
Lil Kiki. Let
Absolutely.
me add to this, because you talk in the 90s, and see, you guys coming together as a tandem, like back then might have been unlikely.
Yeah.
You know, being where you're from, Massachusetts, Boston.
The style different.
Your style is mad different, but y'all mesh well on this particular project. But around that time, what were you listening to? Were you listening to DJ Screw?
Well, I never listened to DJ Screw. Like, it wasn't until Bun B, when Bun B reached out to Primo and was like, "Who's the Terminology kid? I want to work with him." That was my introduction to really Houston hip hop. I mean, I had heard of UGK, I had heard of Paul Wall, I had heard of different, obviously Scarface, Ghetto Boys, but I started learning about Houston hip hop as a grown ass man.
Okay.
As a little kid, I was studying Wu-Tang. I was studying Fat Joe. I was studying, you know, these different, more East Coast stuff. That's not true. Not only East Coast. I memorized the entire Doggy Style album from Snoop when I was 9 years old.
Damn, what was your favorite track on the album?
Man, that's my favorite album. Every track. Probably The Shiznit.
The Shiznit. How'd that go? I forget. How'd that go?
Man, if you play it, I'll rap the whole thing. But
okay, you don't.
Your mama let you listen to Snoop at 9?
Listen, it's not that she let me, it's that she couldn't stop me.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
Respectfully, because I had a Walkman with a tape cassette.
Yeah, I know what it is. I know
So,
what Walkman is.
my first tape I ever got was Let's Go, Baby.
Listen, Aoki.
Picture me 9 years old walking to school with the headphones
It's
on.
the 9-year-old terminology. Go ahead.
Stopping, nothing.
When I take the Nino,
No, you know I got to have it.
I lay back in the cut, retain
Myself,
Think about the shit,
and I thinks it well. How can I make my grip?
and how shit
Can I make these
niggas
straight slip? Set hip right up, live up on the grip. Got to dip on the corner.
Now I'm on it.
Little mission, wishing upon the star. Snoop Doggy Dogg in the VR. Back of the devil, this is the real. Breaking it down like a band of Holyfield. Chill. Next episode, I make money and I really don't love hoes.
Wow. 9 years old.
9 years old. That boy ain't
I make hits every single day with
that nigga, the
Diggy Dr. Dre.
in the cut,
Motherfucker.
before you get shot, hit one
A7 on the undercover car. You know what I'm saying? So that's me walking to school every day, like type shit. And so the Chronic and Doggy Style was my favorite albums, right? I memorized those first. And then then Wu-Tang came out like the next year. And Biggie and all that, because this was 91, 92, 93.
Yeah.
I was like obsessed with West Coast hip hop first and Cypress Hill. And then when the East Coast shit came out, my mind was blown because the lyricism was different. Like Inspector Deck and shit like that. Like, come on, bro. Like, this shit is Nas. Like, this is next level. So now I'm memorizing Illmatic. Now I'm memorizing It Was Written. Now I'm memorizing Prodigy, Mobb Deep. And then, like, when Punk came out with the that in the middle, we know that we middle to riddle. I was like, nah, hold up. like I gotta do this like professionally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was so obsessed with it and I was so in love with it. And I'm still in love with it. I'm still a fan. I still like any artist I like, I'll buy a vinyl, buy their CD, I'll download their music. I'm still a fan, yeah.
That's what's up. Termanology has joined us with Paul Wall, start to finish. New album is out today, citizens. We open up the phone lines, 888-742-3345. That first clip we played was off of the Dr. Green Thumb show with Be Real, the legend, the icon, and that's where we pulled that little clip from.
You know, listening to you right now, T, I noticed, and you may not have done it on purpose, but it might have been conscious, that you self-censored yourself when Snoop said nigga.
Yeah.
And it made me think when it comes to those who are Latino, there are some folks that feel like if you rap and you're Latino, it's cool to say nigga. There's some folks that are like, nah.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your decision around that.
So to keep it real, right? Like in my hood, it's all day. Like it's not even like people don't even think about it. It's like everybody says it.
Right.
In my hood. My hood is full of Latin kings, G's, disciples. It's like it's all right to say it. But professionally around the world, people don't understand where I come from. They don't know I'm Puerto Rican. I look like a white boy. It just feels weird. Like, and it's not right. So I'm like, you know what? Like, when I got in the game, I'm like, yo, cool in your hood, in the projects with your people, so we ain't judging you. Not cool on Sway in the morning. You know, and that's just my take on it.
About that terminology.
Yeah, just
I'm
you
not
know
mad
what
at that.
Just
Ain't
to
no
be out
way
there.
I'm saying it.
Yeah.
I didn't even ask you.
Look, my mom is like Mother Teresa or something. But if I say the N word right now, man, she ain't even listening. She gonna
Yeah,
come
yeah.
through the microphone and slap me
know
if
that's
she ever
right.
say that.
But it's different with Puerto Ricans though.
Yes.
Respectfully, for some reason, it's just like Puerto Ricans are black. And it's like some people get it, some people don't.
Because Puerto Ricans
It's
are
all
black.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, if you do the history, you do the knowledge on it. But yeah, it's like something that I professionally like. I wouldn't want to say that on camera. I don't want to make nobody be offended.
I respect that.
Yeah, me too. So, Paul, I have a question. You mentioned like what you were listening to, and shout out to Kiki. Of course, we love him. That's
Yes.
family here, Sway in the Morning. But for me, as well, like I clearly remember Scarface being my introduction to Texas. Like I was almost shocked he was from Texas. Like his flow was so incredible. But for you guys, like even DB here, he's from Texas. He already knew. Were you guys shocked that some of your local artists wasn't big all over the world? Like did you understand that did that make sense to you guys?
We always looked at Scarface as being like, you know, the pinnacle,
Yes.
you know, like of Houston and the Ghetto Boys as well.
Right.
But we also always, even to today, looked at it as though he was slighted a little bit being from Houston, being he was so far away from
Yes.
media, so far away from
The music center,
the music center. Even as it transitioned to the West Coast, and you know, Scarface had a lot of connections to the West Coast, so he got a lot of that love as well. Then it transitioned to Atlanta a little bit. You know, we just kept feeling like, man, he just not getting his proper due. And I've always felt like, you know, and I could be wrong, maybe him being from Houston is what highlighted him. But I always felt like, man, if Scarface was from New York, he'd be considered, you know, the greatest in everybody's
right.
eyes, you know. But being that he's from Houston, maybe not as much. But I could be wrong. Maybe
No,
being
I
that
don't
he's
think
from
you're wrong.
Houston, maybe that.
I don't think you're wrong. In fact, when people mention Scarface as one of their top anything, I say this person knows what they're talking about because you have to just understand his impact at a time where it was so regional and people wouldn't let people in the game just based on where they was from. He cut through all that bullshit because he was just so nice with it.
Nothing
add-
gimmicky, no pop songs, none of that,
Yeah.
just real hip hop.
One of the greatest lyricists
Of our time.
of our time.
Yes.
To add
Of
on
all
to that,
time,
I feel like, and a lot of people feel this way, that Pac got a lot of his flow from Face. And if you listen to the, it's like Pac took it and updated it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Face is so influential that people might not even realize you biting from him.
They were out around the same time.
Wow.
Digital Underground and
Wow.
yeah. But if you go back, I can't remember faces.
It's that sing rap.
Same
The sing
era.
rap.
And I
Sing
always
rap.
thought
Yeah.
Biggie sound like Pac on I don't want to live no more. Sometimes I hear death knocking at my front door.
But
That
they-
sound like
but
Pac
the-
to me
that
for some
sound like
reason.
Pac, but then Pac, you know, remember our interview told me that he gave Biggie some cues, like he gave Biggie some style points.
Flex.
Oh,
Yeah.
Flex
okay.
on them.
Yeah, Biggie,
right.
yeah.
He said our interview. I was just chilling with Pop.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No
terminology.
Biggie.
Exactly, too.
Well, you might have been 4 at that time, terminology.
Heather, to add
I
on
was
to what
hanging
you
out with
saying,
him.
I was there.
I like
Yeah.
Paul starts smiling like, yo,
Yeah,
this is that shit I grew up watching. He think he watching MTV right now. Yo, DB, jump in this, man.
Yeah, because Heather mentioned that I did grow up in Texas, and I remember in high school I was in growing up in the North Dallas area, and so in the late '90s, a lot of our classmates would come up from Houston, visiting family members, and would be like, "Yo, they got this sound called screw music." I had no idea. I was born in New York, so to me that shit was like, what? They're slowing down the music, like made no sense. But then later on, as I got to college, I went to University of North Texas, and then you would see cars driving down the campus, and I'm like, yo, this shit is like coming from everywhere. So the point I'm trying to make is that when I was watching the Green Thumb interview last night, you guys touched on sort of like how programmers in certain markets will just focus on what's new because they figure that that's what's hot, and they won't show love to people that have been in the business, still making records to this day. And so with screw music or any sort of genre that is sort of specific to an area, screw with Houston, the Bay Area has a sound, go-go with DC, you know what I mean? When you see people start to emulate that sound, but they're not doing it authentically, does that sort of bother you, I guess?
Man, I got what I say is this is my personal view. If you ask, take a poll of everybody in Houston, they might feel different or they might feel similar, but I feel, mixed. Part of me is growing up, listening to this music that I thought was the greatest music of all time ever created. God's gift. This is why God created the earth, was to make screw music. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. So, to hear it get shitted on across the globe by people, oh man, we don't like that country stuff, and then to be accepted, and then for it to be imitated slightly or people to be inspired by it, it's just, as a fan of the art of screw, I cherish it. So I'm like, yes, finally, man, screw music. Screw, I always talked about screwing the world up, man. The whole world gonna be screwed up. And now you see elements of this in pop music and all sorts of music, and non-English speaking music across the globe. So part of me is happy that screw music kind of made it. But there's also another side. It's like, well, I wish this screw could get the credit. Like when you do the the Pro Tools you plug in, it should be called the screw plug-in, right? Yeah. So I see the slowed in reverb now, which is a thing, and they think that's they think screw copied that, so it's funny to see that. And then at the same time, there's a lot of people who hold a chip on their shoulder in that, well, they ain't had no love for us, now they want to do it. Nah, this is our stuff. But then you see the other side of it, where the Houston culture just in general has evolved, not out of the screw culture, but there's other cultures that have emerged from Houston. Right, within Houston. Toby Nwigwe represent coming with his own complete style. Sauce Walker coming and just changing the game as well, coming with a Sauce Walker, shout out. Then you got other people like Maxo Cream coming with his own flow pattern. You got Megan Thee Stallion coming with Ball Auto. She doesn't get a lot of the love because a lot of her stuff gets focused on, I'm talking about like media and fans, we focus on how she looks and what she, the other stuff. But Megan be dropping bars, man. If Megan was around on the screw tapes or the Switch House tapes, we would be looking at her as one of the top lyricists in the game. But because she's shaking her ass a lot or she's, beautiful, then it's different. We looking at her body and that's what I think about too. As a male, I'm like, man, at no point in my whole entire life was there a crowd full of people staring at me like, look how his pants fit.
They wasn't looking at your ass.
He didn't do no push-ups today. Look at, he kind of, maybe because I always grew up overweight and I came in the game fat, you know what I'm saying? So maybe that's why they weren't looking at me like that. But I always feel like the double standard of male versus female, and I see how she gets viewed. But when I listen to her music, living in a house full of women, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my son. It's me and my son and 7 women. So you know what I'm saying? I hear a lot of female-centric hip-hop that I normally wouldn't listen to. But when I hear it day in and day out, I can hear, oh, wait, what's she say? Oh, she's saying some bars right there. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Megan. Shout out to all the Houston
women
artists.
and the
females. Yeah.
You made a great point. Nobody's ever looked at terminology and said he wasn't sexy enough on stage. He ain't dropping it. Yeah. Nobody ever done that. You ever think of that term as an MC? You're not judged by your eyelashes and your fingernails and your outfit as much as a woman is.
Well, I'll say this, right? Like, First out, shout out to Megan Thee Stallion because she's super nice, right? And I'm a big fan of females in hip hop, right? I like advocate for them and argue with men. Man, you know how many men I argue with? Like, yo, Remy Martin is way nicer than you. And these dudes like can't take it. It's like a male ego thing. Like they can't. I'm like, bro, you're not better than Lil' Kim. You're not better than. And it's like we get in these rap beefs and these rap arguments of who's nicer and I'm like, yo, dog, there's a lot of women that will smoke you. Like, then let's go to URL. There's a whole other. There's a lot.
Come
There's
on,
like
man.
50 women that will smoke. You think you
chop
top
you and
five?
miss
There's like
me.
50 shorties that'll smoke you, fam. Like, so you know we gotta give the props to the women. But
Shout
getting
out to
back
the Girl Code,
Yeah.
Carly X.
right, all
Shout
that.
out to the female producers as
Rhapsody.
well and female
Yeah.
DJs.
And the
Wow.
DJs.
But
yeah.
back
And
back to
DJ.
me being sexy and all that. I'll say this, right?
Was that the question?
You said something to the effect of like people don't look at me because
They don't objectify men rappers
Right,
like
they don't
do.
care if you look good. They kind of want to hear your bars. At a Termanology show, it's a sausage fest. It's like 90% dudes and their girlfriends. So it's like 10%.
So how
shorties.
many collaborations have you done with female MCs?
A lot of my albums have females on them. Specifically, I did 2 videos with Lumi D.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Shout out to Lumi.
Yeah, shout out to Lumi.
Wow. Shout out to Lumi, you know,
Okay.
my sis. And if you go back, well, first of all, I got 44 albums, right? That's a fact. If you go look through all my
we
albums.
can't just let that ride.
And a stunt, a fact,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a
He
stunt.
said he got 44
Yeah,
albums.
44.
Tone, give it
Well,
to him.
today
Tone.
is
Give
the
him
44th.
Give him the owl, Tone. Give him the owl.
Yeah, let's go. But if you look through the catalog, right, from when I started in 2003, you know, from then to now, like every time there was a hot like female rapper that I could put on, I put on. Like Dutch Rebel, Beans Got Bars.
Beans got
Wow.
bars.
I found a lot of these ladies before they was popping and believed in them, and then they went on to pop off, and I'm like, yes, that was the point.
That's so good to hear because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of dudes wouldn't listen to a woman's full length project. Kind of what you were saying, P. Like men will hear the woman by accident.
Yeah.
What the singles are,
Or
but
be
it's-
like she's fly, but not listen to her
right.
album.
They
But
hear it and
women
be
will
like-
listen to the whole male project.
Yeah, because they have to, because it's a male-driven industry. But now it's not. Now Cardi B's bigger than any male rapper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
it's-
hate when they got a female playing and somebody say, "Hey, what she look like?" Man, look, say, I mean, maybe it's just different, but you know, we came from the era where it was all about the bars and the beats. You know what I'm saying? And then creativity on the scratching. We want to, you know, you hear a DJ scratch some dope on there, you like, man, you bring that back. You know, just you know that's what we wanted to hear. It was never in fashion. Kind of got introduced into it a little bit, but
Right.
now it's very aesthetic driven. It's
Yeah.
very aesthetic driven.
Let's do this, man, because I want to play Asterisk, one of the songs off the project, start to finish. I'm curious, too, though, about Boston. What would be considered the Boston sound? Let's talk about
yeah.
that.
So the Boston-
Let's
Go ahead,
come
go
back.
ahead.
We're going to play
Oh, we do
Asterisk.
after? Okay.
Yeah, we're doing radio term. This is our first week back.
Yeah.
You know, all right. So this is Paul Wall and Termanology. The album is Start to Finish is out today. Check out the video for this one, Asterisk. These boys right here, they shining on this. They showing off. They popping a lot of collars. This is pop your collar music right here. Turn that up. Turn that up. No asterisk. Yo, Paul been using a lot of big words on this project too, by the way. I've been noticing it. But you got a thesaurus for your birthday? What happened?
Pernicus.
I actually do got a list. Like every now and then I hear people say words all the time that I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be like a word of the day. Today's word of the day. Or just in general, I watch a lot of news, so I don't know what they talking about, man. What they say, man, whatever. Actually, when I would do a lot of work with the Grammys too, we on the trustees meeting, I hear them say word, man. What did they just say? What they say? I'm gonna write that down using it in the verse. I got a whole list.
That's smart though,
words.
man.
That's
That's
beautiful.
good. That's great. That's how you expand your
vocabulary.
your comprehension skills, all of that. Why not? When I talk to my sister, she's one of those people who use big words all the time. I write them down and I dig them up.
Yep.
And I try to implement them in my conversation. Like allegory was a word that I learned from my sister. I start using allegory a
Let me
lot.
write that down, man.
Allegory, Paul. Write that down.
You're gonna hear that on part 2. if
I
start
heard,
to
yeah,
finish
I
part
only
2.
heard like 3 words on the album that I didn't know what it meant, and so I said, "Hey, Paul, what does pernicus mean?"
He did say that.
Yeah, and then I said, "What's a tourniquet?" And he's like, break your arm, and so he's busting down these, terminology means study of words. So
Yeah.
Yep.
we study words, but he came with some crazy vocab on this shit for real.
So let me ask you this, Term. What is, like, we talked about the Houston sound, we talked about the Bay sound. You know, when I think of Boston, I go back to, you know, Ed O.G. and the almighty RSO and
Yes, sir.
all those legendary. Now you got Coyle Ray, who's out, you know, yourself, others.
Bia, Millie's, Joyner Lucas,
Yep.
Cousin Stiz. It's a lot of people from the town popping right now.
So is there a sound?
So I would say the traditional Boston sound from the 80s and 90s into early 2000s was just boom bap. It's like we're only 4 hours from New York. So the same way that Griselda is from Buffalo, which is 6 hours from NYC, the city, the boroughs, and they sound like New York. We sound like New York. And when we came in the game, for instance, Guru is from Boston. So when you hear Gangstar, that's Boston. Mm-hmm. You know, so we sound like Gangstar.
I like how you did that,
And
though.
Premier's from Texas.
Right.
Premier's from Texas.
Yeah, but they
Wow.
moved to New York and
Yeah.
created a
sound.
sound and kept a sound going. Like, and so I blew up because of Premier. Like me and Static been my best friend since we were 16. Right. I'm 39 now, so I knew Static my whole life.
Beautiful.
But when we moved to New York, like Static moved here in 04. I moved in 07 to the Bronx. We lived in the same building, and we would go try to be around Premier. We would that was the big homie. Like, that's fucking DJ Premier. What are you talking about? So, you know, us running around with Primo, he influenced us so much that when I finally got the Watch How Go Down single, the next year the So Amazing, the next year the Bun B single, How We Rock, it was like that was my introduction to hip hop, and I just never changed my sound because I came in the game with Static and Premier. Why would you change your sound? Just stick to that.
You would have only messed it up if you tried to change
Right,
that.
straight up.
Like-
you wouldn't even be sitting here right now.
Right. So all the kids now, they send me, you know, the paid features, right?
Right.
DM, how much for the feature, fam? Yo, X, Y, and Z amount. Then they send me drill beats. They want me to dance around with guns like the gang members and shit. I'm like, yo, I don't do that, respectfully. Like, that's
Wow.
cool for y'all, and I respect that. That's cool, but I don't do that. So if you want me on like a boom bap or a soul or maybe an R&B record, I can go that route. But I'm not gonna like do shit that don't sound right with terminology. The brand, people don't want to hear that. They want to hear me on Static and Primo. They don't want to see me doing dances and shit like that.
We wouldn't believe you.
No.
It just
Yeah,
it'd
we
be
wouldn't
fake
believe
as fuck.
you.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, we
Like
wouldn't
for
believe
me,
you.
like it's not right.
Look, Terminology is here. Paul Wall is here. The new album, start to finish. I keep saying it because I want y'all to get it. Let's go to
Yes.
these phone lines real quick. Brandon's on the line from Houston. Brandon,
Nice.
What up,
rise
B?
and shine. What up, B?
What up, Big B?
What up, Sway? What up, Heather B? What up, Tracy G?
Yo.
What it
Already.
do, Paul Wallaby?
What it do, baby?
What up, Terminology? I'm gonna get on your music. I ain't on you yet, but I've been on Paul Wild forever.
Hey, Brandon,
that's what's up.
when you talk to Paul Wall, can y'all just use strictly Houston slang and then we'll figure it out?
Paul
We
Wallaby
started
was
off.
hard.
What it do?
What it do, man? You know what I'm talking about? We out here. Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Already.
I'm out of Cashmere Gardens. It's Astro season. You already know what it is.
Yeah, baby, we ready. My boy Bradman came with it yesterday. Hey, Trinity Garden, what's up, man? Hey, we used to. That's why I opened my first grill shop right there in Trinity Garden on Jensen. Shout out to Thug City, first place I ever sold grills.
Cashmere Gardens all day long.
Already.
But Sway, I done watched this man craft like, you know, a statue made from a block of stone. I done watched this man craft get better over years.
Yeah.
My CD case at the house, I still got color changing quick CDs. Let your nuts hang with the color changing emblem.
Yes, sir. Shout out to
Like
Chameleon.
I done
what's
watched
up?
Paul Wild to his craft started to my. If you go look to his old music, you'll hear this boy say some of the fly stuff you ever heard. You ain't never heard of a Gucci Campax.
Yeah.
I'm talking about way back then.
Yeah.
So
How about that
I done
chopping
watched
them up
his-
part two? That chopping them up part two.
Yes, sir.
Show off,
Everything,
Sway.
Homer Pimps and all that.
I had
got
one
all
that
that.
did them. That's what we go back. Okay.
I
We
go
don't-
way
we-
back.
Okay,
I
Brandon,
just wanted to
thank
give him
you.
his flower.
Thank you, man.
We heard you. We don't know what the hell you said, but we heard you, Brandon. You're a citizen,
really
brother.
Sway in the morning.
You a citizen, man. Okay, jeez.
Yes,
all right.
sir.
They all calling for you, man. Let's go to New York. We got Tony. Tony, what up, Tone?
Yo.
What's popping?
What's popping,
What
man?
it do?
Going on? This Tony, DCF Radio Management.
Okay, Tone, my man.
Yeah.
Tone, you got a question?
I just want to shout out to Screw Culture. Me being from New York, I was in the military, so, you know, we get thrown around. And I was in Texas, and I fell in love with it. I still, to this day, listen to Screw tapes. He's just a big. I'm waiting for the movie. I know the movie's supposed to drop, and like, that's just going to put him on another level that I wish he would have still been here to be able to see how loved he is for that culture, what he did with that music. Like, I got 412s in my truck. Summertime, my cab is open, and I'm just blasting screw music through South Jamaica, Queens, my hood.
I love
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I love that, man.
Hey, let me speak on that because what he said, man, that is big part of why the screw tapes and the screw culture and the screw music really took a big stronghold in Texas. It's all geographic laid out. Like when you came down to South Lee, we ride. We everywhere you go, you riding in a car. So you gotta have your car right. You gotta have your speakers right. So we made music specifically for the car because that's how we heard the music. So when you screw the music, you're stretching it out. So the bass, the 808s are gonna be stretched. That means they're gonna be hitting extra hard, extra long. So when you pull up in the parking lot, if you playing some general, like regular speed, normal music, which we thought was crazy because when we first heard the music, we first heard it screwed. So then when you hear it normal, you like, man, why it sound crazy like that? Where it's the reverse for everybody else.
Wow.
But when you play that in your trunk, it's gonna have a knock, a boom. But when you play it screwed, it's gonna be boom. Right. So that's why we were like driven toward the screw music. Where maybe up here, and this is my theory, up here, you on the train, so you listening to music on your Walkmans. Before earbuds, you ain't have earbuds, you just had Walkman headphones. So there wasn't no bass or none of that. So you hear different elements of the music. So when you're out here making music at that era, you making it a different way so that you can hear those elements in the headphones. But when we making it for the trunks, we hear different elements. So the shout out to all the slab riders, anybody with some bass in their trunk.
You know what I like about Houston too? That it's a lot like the Bay Area, the mindset too.
Yeah, very.
I'm not so much sure about Boston because when I've hung in Boston, it's always been quick. I never spent more than 2 or 3 days in Boston. Where I've sat in Houston and know a lot of folks, like family, my uncle, my father's brothers lived in Houston. I've shared some things with Paul before him and I've spoken. I like the hustle. When Chameleonaire decided to go into the digital space and start investing in startup companies at a time when we was like, what is he? What? Damn, they writing dirty, is banging. Like, what are we doing? I like that. I being in the game so long, I knew that it makes sense to plant seeds in different areas. Now we see Snoop in the metaverse. You see people getting into NFTs. The whole nine. But when Chameleonaire went that route, you went into grills, right? Was that always your mindset that I'm going to use rap to launch other things?
Well, I go to the people who were like our big bros, our heroes, our mentors, inspired us. They always taught us that if you do something you love, it's not work. You enjoy, because we see people that go to work every single day of their life and they hate their job. It makes them miserable, and then they hate their life, as a result of it, as well. So you see that as a hard life to live, where you hate the job you do, but you gotta go there to make a check for whatever reason, take care of your family. So to do something you love always was more important than doing something you hate that you get paid good for. And then on top of that, in Houston, we were always taught you got to have a different hustle for every season. You got to have multiple hustles, not just one, or you're going to rely solely on that. And we would have people like Jay Prince that would always tell, you'd see him doing boxing management or other things, owning companies, putting stuff out, doing things other than the music. And when you really break down the science of releasing a project, we judge it on the art, but we also judge it on the sales. What features is on there, what did it chart, how many views did the video got. Those are all just things that I don't measure. I don't use that as a measurement of. I try, and it's all subjective, objective. I don't, it's whatever what I like is not necessarily what you like, because it affects me a different type of way. I was, raised a different way, so I might relate to something this person's saying because they're saying something that I don't, just some reason I like it. So I try to make my music that way too, where I try not to get led too much by, is this gonna make more money than that, or how many features we got, how many views we got, this and that, because whatever that isn't necessarily the first week numbers. What difference did that make 10 years from now? I'm not listening to an album because of its first week sales. I'm not listening to an album because of somebody's haircut or any of these other like measurement things that, you know what I'm saying, I'm not knocking nobody. Why you like that? Oh, I like you got some crazy hair. Well, that's why you like them. Cool. I like such and such because of how they spitting or what beats they rapping on or they subject matter or just I like they swag or style beyond that. But if you make only and you release only music and that's your only form of income, then you're gonna be driven by that because of course, we all want to be successful. And if you're struggling financially, well, let me go in the studio and make an album that's gonna sell versus let me make an album that I can be proud of. And sometimes you can be proud of something that sells, but it's just a different direction. If you're headed in a direction and the path only for money, only for sales, it's gonna bring certain things out of you. Where if you headed to, man, look, we gotta make the dopest project we ever did, then it's gonna bring different elements out of the music.
Terminology. Paul Wall, here, start to finish. Term, where would you rank Paul Wall in your top 5 collaborators? Is he in the list?
Yo, bro, let me tell you something.
Hey, he got some collab, man. I might not be on that list. He got
Bun
good.
B.
Hey,
Come on, man. You got a lot of people on your collaborators
I
list.
wouldn't be on my own top 5 collaborators list if I was a Term, man.
I work with I'm blessed, man. I work with some great rappers. I'll say this, the experience was the best. Like, he's the easiest guy to work with, bro.
Okay.
I've worked with some people that are like nowhere close to as established or famous as him, and they super diva. Like, he was the coolest cat. I sent him the track. He sent the verse back in like 10 minutes. Like, how fuck you? Like, he sent his shit back the same night. Like, and then you have like fucking Z-list artists that I've like reached out to and never sent the verse, or sent it like 7 months later, or sent me to their manager like, Paul, like, oh, word, beat slaps, boom, verse right back. So the experience was so fire working with Paul Wall. He's so easy to work with.
Is in your top 5 collaborators?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nice.
Then who else? Styles P, Bun B, who?
Bun B for sure.
Okay.
Busta Rhymes.
Right.
I have a song with Busta Rhymes called Play Dirty.
Okay.
Man, that's a hard one, man. I got a lot of records. Lil Fame.
Physiology.
MOP. Yeah, Physiology's classic. I know you got some classics with MOP too.
That's family. That's family.
Yeah, I love those records. But yeah, so we say Paul Wall. Let's go at Styles P, Bun B,
Right.
Lil Fame, and a rapper or a producer.
We can throw a producer in there. Go ahead, man.
I gotta go with Static. That's my dog.
Static Select.
Yeah,
I ain't mad at that.
Yeah.
Mike
He got
Muse.
beats though.
That's what I'm
Static
saying.
got beats.
Static got crazy. He got library. I don't know how he does it, where he finds time. Mike Muse, you're going to get the last question. Go ahead.
Paul, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
And huge fan.
Thank you.
And it's being inspired by what you were just saying to the previous caller about the features and what they're doing now. What I'm excited for you is that you have such an incredible career, and I'm just curious, what state of mind are you in right now in terms of what you want to talk about now? Because you have a different lived experience from what you had when you first came onto the scene.
When I was young, you first come on the scene, you kind of like fuck everybody, fuck the world, fuck whatever the trend is. I was always anti-trend. So, there are a lot of dope artists and music that I never listened to because they just were trendy. But then when they kind of weren't trendy, okay, then I dive into them, and now I'm a fan of them. But why they popping? I can't. It's just something in me that's just anti-fad, anti-trend. So coming out, it was a different mentality where me and Kxng, we had a similar style where we were very braggadocious. We were heavily influenced by the Screwed Up Clique and the Hot Boys. And the Hot Boys, they was braggadocious as it got. So we were very influenced by that, where we wanted to say something that would make you think. Where you hear it and you're like, man, what did he say? Oh, man, he crazy. So, and definitely having kids was a part. Having a son and a daughter for different reasons. And I don't, ain't no genderism or nothing going on. But when I had a son, it made me want to be a better man for him as an example or a lead, to lead him, guide him. Having a daughter, same thing. I wanted to be a better man, but for different reasons. I wanted to give her a different example of, what, a good man could be, for her as an example. So I wanted to be better. So as a son, I'm thinking of different ways I'm making music, different things I'm talking about. Also, for my daughter, I remember making a song with Juicy J and Trina, and it was T. Ferris had the idea. He said, "Hey man, we need to sample this slob on my knob, like corn on the cob." So he sampled that. Let's call the boys. Let's run a train, and that was the song. Let's run a train, and it was hard. Trina, Juicy J, I'm going off on there, but I'm just like, man, how can I possibly what am I gonna do when my daughter say, "Hey, Dad, I'm gonna go let somebody run train on me," or something like, man. So I just, man, how can I be promoting this? But it's not something that maybe I was about that in a different age or era, but now I'm a different man. So I gotta be better in my lyrics as well. So that was like one stage where I had to pivot a little bit. And then as you get into different things, when you're on a major label, you get different opportunities you don't have when you're not major. So you have to take advantage of those type of things, or else you might not ever get them again. You don't have to, but I was a firm believer, and I'm doing every interview, whatever idea. I'm not saying no to ideas, but sometimes you say no to idea, you say yes to an idea, and it turned up being corny or something. But in your mind, it's not corny; it's just different. But the world see, it's corny. Now you corny, so you can be a slippery slope and dangerous. But definitely where I'm at now, it's a whole new perspective, and having the opportunity to work with Static Selector, being there with Termanology, where we just sharpening each other's iron at all times. Everything is bringing the best out of me lyrically. Just I'm seeing different skills, styles of laying of the everything. Just all of it is different. It's really brought something different out of me to go in a different direction that I didn't really even know I could do. Because also when you're in a, when you come out, they want to paint you as in a box, or present you to the world, even off on the underground. But when you get presented to the world, they want to present you in a certain way. So if I, and it's all marketing strategy. I'm not knocking it or upset or none of that. I don't mean to sound that way at all. I'm not at all. It's great, but sometimes it had you thinking that's all you're capable of doing, whatever is in this box, whatever is expected of you. You don't even get to try something new. So I never had, Premiere or Static or A&R saying, "Hey, I got this beat from Large Professor" or something. So I never had that opportunity.
So
it was always other styles of other beats that were dope as well, but they lead you in a different direction, bring something out. So now that I have this opportunity where it's, "Hey, I got you," and it's not, Static sending me a beat, "Hey, we're gonna make a song about grills," or we're gonna make a song about, this or that, or whatever typical Paul Wall that you might think. He just sending me a dope beat where it's just hard. I don't know if you're feeling it, man. Hell yeah, of course I'm feeling that, and just being there, it's almost magical how it brings something out of me. Like being in there, it will, I get in my own little, like I said, I'll do a prayer, like a little seance or something, man. You know what I'm saying? I get very spiritual, and it really do bring something out of me and take me to a different place where I'm just really going off, and it's no judgment, no prejudgment, no anything. It's not me on there. And Stack say, "Damn, man, we gonna Paul, you from Brooklyn now, man? What's up, man?
You do sound like a '90s Brooklyn rapper on this project, man. Like, you do sound like you sound like a
wildin'. Paul's wildin'.
Y'all both getting busy. I'm used to that though. Like Term doesn't leave any stone unturned, so to speak. But you got busy too. I didn't want to cut you off. No, Heather got ahead to Urban View real quick.
Yeah, but talk about the Kxng.
But they got this new sneaker, this Patrick Ewing joint, Good Dad Gang. What's that about? What is this?
So the Good Dad Gang is a movement I started in 2014 to motivate fathers to be in their child's life. And from when I started the movement to now, it's really exploded. Jamie Foxx FaceTime me talking about he want to help with the brand. He was wearing a hat, on set at his show with his daughter, and he was posting the shirts on the gram. And Ludacris and Charlemagne, all these different people have been showing love to the brand. And it's just all about showing love and being a good parent. You know what I'm saying? So we've been pushing the Good Dad Gang narrative now for like 7 years, and we got over 100 tattoos. People tattooed on them. And we got a sneaker deal with Ewing. So, the sneaker comes out for Father's Day. We've always had different type of sneakers for different holidays. We have Christmas, Halloween, this, that, and the third. We never had a Father's Day sneaker. Now we do. So, this Father's Day.
That's dope. Fire.
How can I get a pair? I'm a good dad.
Oh, no, we're going to send you. We're going to send you one.
Hook me up.
Yeah,
man.
we got you, man. Shout out to Patrick Ewing. Shout out to the Good Dad
Patrick, thank you. Heather's headed to Urban View. Y'all can check her out.
Channel 126 is No Judgment Friday. Come through. And, love y'all. Good to see y'all, man. God bless. That's family. And y'all should have been here like 10 minutes earlier. We had food.
Oh,
We had
that's
food
so
for
good.
you. Yeah,
It was a
I-
pleasure.
I kept him in the lobby on purpose. Paul got a Houston appetite. Big plates.
Bad dad.
That's big plates, right?
Hey, I grew up eating leftovers. Where they at, man? I grew up eating cold, hot food.
Oh, we got
No,
some. Okay. Yo, Term, I'm very proud of you, man.
Thank you, man.
I've watched you for years, man. I
Yeah.
kind of watched you grow up.
You
in
knew
this.
me since a kid,
Since
almost.
yeah. That's like, I've known you since the 05.
Yeah, I met you when I was like 22.
22, man.
Yeah,
That's
so,
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, and
And he's
that,
39 now, so that's
Yeah.
17 years.
that's about 30 albums ago.
Yeah.
And yo, when I came, my best freestyle was the Sway freestyle, just for the record. Like I did Flex, I did BT Cypher with French Montana and Mike Epps, I did Bootleg Kev, I've done every freestyle platform, and I always go in, but my favorite one was the one up here. Like my fans love that freestyle.
Yeah.
They love it, and I love it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was a classic moment for me, and I just want to thank y'all for that.
Absolutely,
you know?
man. We got more moments to make. How
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that? We all look good,
Yeah,
right?
you know
we still
that.
in this,
Right.
baby. Come on, let's
Yeah,
go.
let's go.
Come on, man. I'm about to get my grills. You know,
Yeah,
because you know, Scotty ATL got at me about grills too. I just want to let
Hey,
you know.
shout out to Scotty ATL, my boy. Hey, man, you know what? Being, seen as like the grill king, man, look, I truly appreciate the opportunity TV Johnny gave me to sell grills with him, and I don't ever take that lightly, but I also see that if I hold that on to myself, then it's the opposite of what Johnny did for me. Johnny gave me an opportunity to sell grills. Johnny literally got over 1,000 wholesale people that sell grills, but he makes them. You know what I'm saying? So that's how he came in the game as a wholesaler. So that opportunity he gave me, and that he give other people. Man, look, when I see other entrepreneurs out there getting their money selling grills, big salute. Don't ever stop. It ain't never no competition on my side. If I see somebody with a grill in their mouth and I didn't make it, somebody else made, hey, I'm just happy that somebody out there getting their money. They're out there putting good product out there, because it used to be an era of bullshit product, you know what I'm saying, in your mouth. Now, man, so shout out to all the entrepreneurs out there, all the grill hustlers out there worldwide. What it do?
That's what's up, man. Give the people out your social real quick so they can reach out.
At Paul Wall, baby. At Paul Wall, baby. And since we was talking earlier about the female MCs, I got to shout out two of my favorite MCs, female MCs. Definitely Megan Stallion, but Ken the Man, she's, man, one of my favorite, man. If she ever come up here, I know she gonna kill that freestyle, man.
Book
Ken
it
the
up.
Man.
Book her up here.
And Big J, shout out to Big J. She go in too.
Okay,
Word
that's
up.
what's up.
At Terminology ST, that's Terminology with an A.
There you go. Term, proud of you, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Man.
What about me,
you,
man?
Paul,
Damn,
I'm
man.
proud of you, Paul. I'm proud of you. You know I'm proud of you.
I'm getting jealous, man.
Me and Paul might jump on the phone for the last time we talked. How long we talked?
Couple
Oh,
hours.
Sway, I
Wow.
gotta tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I sampled you on my new album, so don't sue me.
Oh.
I would never do that.
All right, thank you. I sampled you on my new album.
I would never do that, but my lawyer though, he might.
I wouldn't, Term. It wouldn't be me.
Alright,
Nah,
so
just
I
kidding.
sampled you on my next album. It's called Determination, and it's coming out this summer. And shout out to K Slay, man. Get well, we
K.
love you.
Slay, I
I
love that
sampled
brother.
K Slay and I sampled you on the intro.
Thank you. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Feel free to sample me, rappers.
right.
Go for
Word
it.
up.
I'm not suing. I'm not suing. If you a TV show or a movie, I'm coming at
Different.
you. If you an artist, I'm not suing.
Hello.
I'm proud of both of you guys. Don't stop. Keep growing. The way you've been evolving, not just as artists, but also as businessmen, as vanguards, trendsetters, man. It's very admirable for someone like me who watched the whole evolution. That feels great, man. It feels
Thank you,
great.
man.
You keep me inspired.